Welcome to Enjoy Life. Warren Buffett, you know him for making billions, right? But now, at 95, his focus has shifted to something much, much richer. We're going to break down his blueprint for a life that's truly well-lived. And what's wild is that his philosophy is backed by decades of hard scientific research. So stick around because you're going to want to hear how his wisdom can actually transform your life.
All right, let's kick things off with a piece of wisdom from the Oracle of Omaha himself. And it's probably not what you're expecting. See, it has nothing to do with stocks or market caps. It's about something way more fundamental. Something that really sets the stage for everything else we're going to talk about.
So in a recent shareholder letter, Buffett dropped this really fascinating idea. He called it maximizing lifetime utility. And no, he wasn't talking about financial utility, getting the most bang for your buck. He meant the total well-being and satisfaction you get from your entire life. So what's the blueprint for that? Well, that's what we're diving into. We're going to look at the foundation of his values, what he calls our most valuable asset, a happiness secret that took 87 years to uncover, and then, the really good part, a practical guide to building this kind of life for yourself.
Okay, first up, let's talk about the absolute bedrock of his entire philosophy. This is the non-negotiable foundation of it all.
Buffett has this famous rule when he's hiring people. He says you've got to look for three things: integrity, intelligence, and energy. Simple enough, right? But he's crystal clear that one of those is not like the others. In his words, if they don't have the first one, integrity, the other two will kill you. Wow.
So he doesn't see integrity as some kind of soft skill, not at all. For him, it's a critical risk control factor. And it makes sense when you think about it, right? Without integrity, all that intelligence and energy can become super destructive. And this foundation of integrity, it builds your reputation. That's not just a nice-to-have thing. It has real, tangible economic value. Get this. Research shows that executives believe a company's reputation accounts for a staggering 63% of its market value.
And if you take that percentage and apply it to the biggest companies out there, well, the number is just astronomical. For the S&P 500 alone, we're talking about a reputation value of almost $12 trillion. That's just mind-blowing.
Okay, so the big takeaway here is pretty clear. Your reputation is this incredibly high-value asset that takes a lifetime to build, but it can be absolutely destroyed in a second. This idea of long-term thinking is so crucial, and it leads us perfectly into the next layer of Buffett's blueprint, something he calls health capital.
Buffett has this really powerful metaphor to explain this. Imagine someone gives you the car of your dreams, your absolute dream car. But there's a catch. It's the only car you will ever get in your entire life. You'd take amazing care of it, wouldn't you? You'd read the manual cover to cover, you'd change the oil on time, you'd protect it from every little bit of rust. Well, Buffett says, that car, that's your body and your mind.
So he frames our health as this truly irreplaceable asset. But here's the problem. Our brains have this built-in flaw that makes us sabotage this exact thing. There's a concept from behavioral economics called hyperbolic discounting. And what it means, essentially, is that our brains are just wired to want this small, immediate reward, like that donut right now, even if it means giving up a much bigger, more important reward later, like our long-term health.
And this sets up a constant battle inside our heads, right? On one side, you've got the immediate pleasure, the junk food, skipping that workout, and our brain gives that a really high value right now. But on the other side, you have all the incredible long-term benefits of being healthy, and our brain just heavily discounts them because, they just feel so far away.
This bias means we're constantly selling our future health for just a little bit of pleasure in the present moment. And over time, all those little choices start to forge what Buffett calls the chains of habit. And eventually, those chains just become too heavy to break. But it's not just about our physical health. These habits also have a huge impact on the third crucial pillar of a well-lived life, our relationship capital.
So, if the real goal here is this big idea of lifetime utility, and not just making money, then what's the single biggest factor for a long, happy life? The answer might actually surprise you. Well, the world's longest-running scientific study on happiness, we're talking the 87-year Harvard study of adult development, gives us a stunningly clear answer. And what's amazing is how perfectly it lines up with Buffett's whole focus on these non-financial assets. They tracked hundreds of people for almost a century, from every walk of life you can imagine, and the conclusion was just completely unambiguous. The key to a long, healthy, and happy life is good relationships, period.
The research on this is it's conclusive. Having close, high-quality relationships literally acts like a protective shield for your mind and your body. It buffers you from all the stress that life is going to throw at you. And let me put this bluntly. Loneliness is a toxin. It's a direct toxin. The damage it does to your health has been proven to be the same as smoking 15 cigarettes a day or being an alcoholic. That's serious.
But the study is really clear about something. It's the quality of your relationships that matters, not the quantity. For example, being in a high-conflict marriage can actually be worse for your health than getting a divorce. Which brings us to our final section. How do we take all this incredible wisdom and actually put it into practice? How do we build this well-lived life for ourselves?
All right, so how do we actually apply these lessons? Well, it all starts with being really intentional about our choices. It's about understanding the incredible power of our habits. Like Buffett warns, the chains of habit are too light to be felt until they are too heavy to be broken. That's a powerful thought.
What this really means is we have to actively build good habits. And it also means we have to manage one of the biggest psychological toxins there is, regret. What's really interesting is that research shows the regret from inaction, the things we didn't do, is way more damaging in the long run than the regret from things we tried that just failed. And a huge part of avoiding that is learning how to process past hurts. Psychology actually gives us a powerful tool for this. It's called the REACH model. It's a structured way to practice forgiveness, both for other people and for yourself. And it helps you let go of the past so you can build real psychological resilience.
Okay, let's bring it all together, Buffett's entire blueprint for lifetime utility. You can think of it like a three-part portfolio for your life. First, you've got integrity capital. That's your foundation. Second, there's health capital, your one and only irreplaceable asset. And third, relationship capital, the scientifically proven multiplier for a long, healthy, and happy life.
So, by consciously investing in these three types of non-financial capital, you're not just living day to day, you are actively building a portfolio for a life that is truly rich. So we're going to leave you with one last really crucial question to think about. What is the one small investment you can make today in your integrity, in your health, or in your relationships that will compound for the rest of your life?
The greatest investment you could ever possibly make is in yourself. It's that simple. By building a life of integrity, by nurturing your health, and by really cherishing your relationships, you create a kind of wealth that no market downturn can ever take away from you. If you found this valuable, we'd love for you to subscribe to Crystal Color Health, Enjoy Life, Just Surulu. And hey, don't forget to like, share, and maybe even leave a comment letting us know what small investment you're planning to make. We'll see you in the next one.